Welcome to my newest series entitled Droidology, the History of Android. In this series, we're going to talk about how Android got started, when Google got involved, why there's so many desserts involved in Android, because I never understood that, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the different operating systems over the years and how Android and Apple really wiped all those other ones out and are still the only two major key players in this entire game. And we're going to talk about so many more things because there is so much to unpack here, guys. So let's start off strong by talking about the beginnings of Android. So it all started back in 2003 when Rich Miner, Nick Sears, Chris White, and Andy Rubin got together and they were like, let's create a kick-ass operating system for mobile devices. And that's how Android was born. And as they continued working on this operating system, Google caught wind of what they were doing. And Google stepped in 2005 and was like, hey, we want to purchase your operating system. And they were like, cool, how much? And they're like, how's around 50 million? And they're like, done, deal. So they joined the Google world. And so you had the Android team and the Google team working simultaneously to create a kick-ass operating system. And one of the key features of this operating system was they wanted to be open source. And why was that? Quite simple. Google wanted to prioritize all of their services on these mobile devices because at the time, their main competitor was Microsoft, and they were all bound to the PC. But by obtaining an operating system for mobile devices, this allowed Google to put all of their services on these mobile devices. And by being open source, meaning that multiple manufacturers and developers could have this operating system to use, that means more people were going to have Google services in their hands. Absolutely genius. So as they continued working on this operating system, they weren't planning to launch when they did, because what happened was Apple ended up releasing the iPhone in 2007. And they were like, oh no, we need to scramble and get this phone out. So they did. And in 2008, they released the T-Mobile G1, also known as the HTC Dream phone. And now this phone was going head to head with the iPhone because these were the first two smartphones to ever be released. The problem was the HTC Dream wasn't as cool as the iPhone, and this probably was not a great start for Android because people were saying that this phone was pretty ugly, like nobody liked it. So this wasn't helping them as their start, but they've come a long way since then. There may be 1 billion active iPhones being used right now, but there's also 3 billion active Android phones being used right now. So we can see who really is dominating the market now. In my next episode, I'm going to talk about desserts. And no, not the ones you can actually eat, but we're going to talk about why Android is ice cream, Oreo, pie, Kit Kat, and how that all came to be, because it's actually a really cool story. So make sure you follow along and continue with me in this series as we delve deeper into the world of Android and learn so many cool things about it and really why it's a lot cooler than Apple iOS. Yes.